Welcome, everybody, to the Wall Street Coach. I'm Ann Curtin's Twitter Space. I'm so lucky today to have Shay Huang here, also known as Humble Trader, and we're going to have some questions from all of you for Shay. I was very fortunate to meet Shay at the Traders for a Cause conference, and we just I was blown away, as were all the audience members, when Shay gave her talk at Traders for a Cause. It was a heartfelt, honest kind of story about her journey as a trader and her journey just as a woman navigating all the volatile emotions that trading can absolutely kick up for any trader. And I hope that we get to talk a little bit about that today. Also, I just want to speak to Shay's amazing ability to take, I think, really complex concepts and not use jargon. She speaks straight from the hip, and she just has so many followers. Especially if you haven't watched her YouTube channel, please go there. She's over 1 million followers there, 1 million subscribers. She has her own trading community. She's just very involved in the trading world and just really cares so genuinely about the people that she encourages. She's so encouraging, and I really can't wait for her to share so much of her wisdom here today. So please start thinking about your questions. This is a 2-part episode with Shay. We just came off of a Zoom video conversation, and we'll release this in a couple of weeks, all edited together. So we did 30 minutes by Zoom. We're going to do about 30 minutes today, and I really hope you guys have questions. I see some friendly faces in the room already. Shay, welcome to my Twitter space.
Hi, Kim. Hi, hello everyone. This is cool. This is my first ever Twitter space. That's cool. Thanks for having me.
It's so nice to have you. I'm so glad you agreed to come here. As I said before, I was telling everybody in the room just that we got to meet at Traders for a Cause. Were we the 2 women who spoke? I don't know. Was there another woman who spoke? Maybe one more, right? It was all men speakers but us.
Yeah, on Saturday it was just you and I, but on Sunday, I think there were 2 other women traders.
Were there? Oh, good. Okay, I must have missed that talk. That's good. But I was so excited to just, for once, have a sister up on the stage with me. That felt really good. And your talk was just, I've said it before, and I know that the Traders for a Cause talk is probably going to be behind a paywall. But honestly, if you listen to no other talk but Shay's, it's worth the price of admission. Her talk has to be listened to by any serious trader because of her authenticity and the journey she's navigated. I am a trading coach, so of course I'm a huge advocate of emotional intelligence, and part of what so spoke to me in Shay's talk is her own development around emotional intelligence. Shay, are you willing to just share with this group just a little bit about how your own journey of that self-awareness, we've talked about how that, seeking out more emotional intelligence has impacted you personally, but also as a trader?
Yeah, I think when I first started trading, I was extremely emotional and I'm just overall really angry. So there were times where during my first year of trading, I'll like smash keyboards, computers, and I'll even take out my anger after losing the day on other people in real life around me. I feel sorry for my siblings and my friends and my parents at the time. So it obviously was really toxic. And I think, at the end, I'm just ended up punishing myself even more when revenge trading and trying to make back the losses. So I think that was really the main reason. And I had no one to blame but myself, really, for my first year of really, really struggling with trading, losing a lot of money every day. And I think a big part of where I finally woke up from all that anger is really recognize that I need to seek some help in terms of my anger issues. So that's where I really talk to other people. I talk to talk to counselors about my anger problems, talk to my family members, and discuss with them in calm manner. It took a while. Like it wasn't like an overnight change. But after recognizing that about my anger and starting to look at my trading, that's when I finally put in some steps in place to recognize my emotions and to have proper steps to kind of to know how to react and how to compose myself when trading and when things are tough, not to get too overly emotional and knowing when to walk away. I think that was a key concept. And that's when I really started putting in some discipline and risk management. But at first, I had to really work on my own emotions and my own anger issues.
I mean, look, we both know that this is for anyone who's doing anything that's volatile, never mind trading. And
Mhm.
yet, not just new traders, but even seasoned, sophisticated traders have a tendency, I have heard on occasion, to kind of poo poo the emotional
Mhm.
side. Well, I'm just not going to be emotional, as if they had a choice. What do you think was your ability to face that was a stumbling block for you? What, you were still a fairly new trader, and yet that to me is a sign of emotional intelligence, to even notice, oh, this anger is costing me. What, how do you think it was that you were able to recognize it and get that help? It's really amazing that you saw it so soon.
Yeah, I think it's when I started journaling every day and journaling my losses. That's when I realized most of my mistakes and most of my losses were from me being revenge trading. So that was the biggest cause and of that revenge trading, losing initially and trying to make it back. It's when I started realizing, hey, that's if I stop doing that, if I just recognize that I should stop trading or just stop out according to my pre-planned risk management areas, then I wouldn't have lost that much money. I would be break even during my first year. So I think tracking that journaling really helps. And also, of course, like even though at the time I was trading part time, so I had a full time job, I have my income. So that's what allowed me to kind of keep on refunding my account after blowing up. But still, it's money that I worked really hard for during my full time job, 9 to 7. So it's precious. So after seeing how much I've lost, I realized, hey, I need to kind of be a little bit smarter about how I size and how I risk my hard earned capital. Because it's not like I can just keep on refunding and not refunding my account and not feel the pressure and not feel the loss. So that's a couple of things that really helped me realize I need to change some things.
It's so much to talk about. This is Shay Huang with Humble Trader. If you're not following Shay on YouTube, Instagram, or Twitter, I encourage you do. She has such a great sense of humor. I know she has a secret fantasy. She might be on Saturday Night Live one day, and I will definitely vote that you do go on Saturday Night Live one day. She has a great sense of humor. Lots of important information done in a very unjargon filled way. Like, you speak straight from the hip in so many ways, Shay. And I think that's really encouraging, not just to new traders, but to sophisticated traders too. You keep it real all the time. And I wish all people kept it real. So thank you for doing that. If you guys are enjoying this conversation, please do a Twitter or a retweet that this space is happening so we can get more traders in the room learning from her. And this Twitter space and podcast will release in a couple of weeks on the Wall Street Coach podcast, which is my YouTube channel. And we'll have this conversation plus the 30 minutes Shay and I got to do right before it. Curious if anybody has any questions. If you do, please raise your hand and I'll give you permission to speak and ask Shay your questions directly. One question I'm going to ask you, Shay, here is, we were talking a little bit about the challenging market that's there right now. You did speak a little bit about, your advice to seasoned traders, but I think it's worth repeating here with this group. What is that first piece of advice that you really feel all traders, new and sophisticated, need to keep in mind during this environment?
Yeah, I think this year is is definitely tougher. Volume is lower. We're seeing less gappers, and when they gap up, they don't really sustain the overnight move. So I think this year the biggest thing that helped me stay alive and still be able to survive this kind of market is sizing down. A lot of traders are used to using certain position sizes from 2020 and 21, and this year I find myself having to size down a lot more, both from the perspective of I don't want to risk as much. I might be able to risk a certain number last year, but this year I'm just not comfortable with it. And at the same time, that also means this year there's just less opportunities overall. Last year there will be multiple stocks running, and every other day you have new stocks to trade of all various prices from 2 digits, single digits to 3 digits. This year, I think it's usually each day there's only one or two, at least for my trading style that trades. For my own trading style, there's usually only one or two stocks that I can focus on, and when I trade them, I tend to downsize a lot more. And I usually stay this way until the only month that I recall this year where I really sized back up was in August. Right now it's December, so that was 4 months ago where we had a lot of stocks rebounding. We had a lot of kind of meme stocks bouncing, and that was great. That was the only month where I recall going back to my regular size, and the rest of the time I think just downsize and be happy with making less, but it's still profits at the end of the day. So I think that's what really helped me this year.
I'm just kind of curious about it's 8 years you've been a trader. What has surprised you just around your own journey being in the game that long? 8 years is a long time. I know some people say, oh, it's not that long, but I think to survive, never mind to be profitable. And look, let's be honest, online managing a YouTube channel for 1 million people, I mean, that's a full-time job. How do you balance all of these really big kind of responsibilities that you carry?
I think if anything, having a YouTube channel that's basically a business on the side really helps a lot. Because what I used to do before I started YouTube is I'll stick around the entire day to trade. And it's great when there's actual opportunities, but most times I realize from just observing my journal is that most times after a certain time I just end up losing money and giving back profits from the morning. So if anything, YouTube is a healthy distraction and allows me to be more disciplined and walk away and have something else to work on. And if you think about it, if I have to if I preach about risk management in front of almost 1 million people on YouTube, then when I'm trading myself, I'm gonna be very very disciplined, because how can I preach you stop out, or like you respect your risk, respect your discipline, if I don't practice that myself? So it really helped me a lot actually, and if anything, it motivates me to keep going, to trade better, and to show up for my followers.
Yeah, it's almost like your followers are your accountability coach. They're
Yeah.
holding
Yes.
they're holding you accountable to your own wisdom and you know really hard earned wisdom. And we talked a little bit about that. There was that period of time where you had a massive loss, and any kind of loss is hard, but the big losses are even harder. What do you lean into when loss occurs, not just in your trading, but just loss in general?
Um, I usually nowadays I would take a break. So depending on the size of the loss, I will take the rest of the day off or the next day off. And if it's really bad, a whole week off. I think I need that time to kind of reflect and really really recompose myself. Because what I used to do when I was newer is that I will go back to trading the next hour or the next day and try to make everything back, and that usually turns out worse. So nowadays I'm a lot more composed. I don't get that angry anymore. I still feel some sort of emotions, of course, but I haven't smashed the mouse and smash a computer in many, many years. Let's just say
That's
that.
fantastic. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I'm sure your credit cards are happy for that because we both know
Yes.
those mouses and those keyboards have gotten more and more expensive over the
Yeah, I
years.
know.
Because of the size of your trading community and the amount of people that are so impacted by you, that sense of community, I know it's really important to you. Just talk about what community means to you and also what you feel it means to traders, the importance
Mhm.
of it.
Yeah, I think there are so many beneficial things about being part of a community and just having a like-minded group of people who understand you. First of all, I think trading this job, this career, this business is really misunderstood. Any normal people like my family still thinks I'm gambling, right? So there's a lot of stigma, and you can't, at least for me, with non-traders and with people who don't follow the market, it's hard for me to kind of communicate with them what I do day to day, and they always think I'm just gambling. So I think you want to be talking about your struggles and share your wins with people who understand how hard you worked and how hard your day to day life is. So that's the biggest thing about having a community, is to be able to share your struggles and understand that the other person's not going to judge you. They understand your wins are because you worked hard for it, and at the same time they understand your losses because they've gone through the same. And there's going to be no judgment. It's everyone, most of the time everyone's really understanding, and they're just happy to listen to your story and share their story at the same time. So I think if anything, it's really good for traders' mental health, to have someone to talk to who understand and they are going through the exact same thing as you are.
I think it can be so isolating trading, and you
Mhm.
can get kind of stuck in this place of where you feel like it's just you. And
Yeah.
that's part of all of the theme of your all of your messaging on YouTube is really to try to encourage people to know that they're not alone,
Mhm.
and that there is an experience as a trader that's across the board, even if people don't talk about it. And that's why
Mhm.
I loved your talk at Traders for a Cause, because you're sharing one of those honest places of like, wow, anger really could sometimes get a hold of me and my trading. And
Mhm.
I know that that's the case as a coach because I listen to what people struggle with, but you just don't hear people talk about it. You don't hear people, they just show you all the good that happens and not the difficulty.
Mhm.
What do you think gave you the courage to even give that talk at Treasure for Cause? Never mind, just share it as you do on your YouTube channel.
Yeah. So that traders for talk speech, I'm not gonna lie, it took me like 2 months to write because I just kept on throwing it out. I was afraid of sharing too much, and also at the same time I don't want to share too little because then it's not doing like my past justice, kind of. So it took a while for me to really push through and decide, okay, I want to share this much. And I'm not sure. A lot of stuff, it's something I never talked to anyone else about. I think even my mom, after she heard my talk, she was like, "Oh, you didn't tell me about this. You didn't tell me you lost $20,000." So that was the first time my mom heard about that loss. So it was interesting. Um,
What was that like? How did she handle that?
I mean, it's okay now. She knows this
Yeah,
many, many years ago, but
yeah.
she was not happy. Even though I'm a grown woman now, she's just like,
Totally.
how can you lose that much money and not tell me? I was like, it's my own money, mom. Like I made it
Exactly.
back, so it's okay.
We're always our mother's little girl or little boy, so they just
Yeah, yeah. So,
uh,
but
wow.
to be
two
honest, yeah,
months,
I'm
two
glad I did
months.
it. Share the
Yeah,
story, but it wasn't
yeah,
easy. It's all I can
yeah.
say.
It's I had Charles Harris on here a long time ago, and he had a talk that was on YouTube. It's called the trading the hero. I think it's called the Trader's Hero's Journey or Trader's Journey, and
Okay.
he also, Shay, was just incredibly vulnerable in sharing the challenges, the losses he had. And
Mm,
those, I was like so moved by his talk, and I had not heard talk like that since his that yours was at Trace for Cause. And I
mm,
just feel like, God, if your talk and Charles's journey, like, there's everybody has those stories, but everybody isn't sharing them. So just thank
yeah.
you for your courage. I can imagine it took courage to share it, but it in a way, I kind of think it's crazy that it asks courage, because everybody's going through it. Everybody
Yeah.
knows it's happening, but we
Yeah.
just don't talk about it enough. And I'm just curious too, in your trading community and those subscribers that interact with you, because you have, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of the interaction you get on your YouTube channel. I'm lucky I get people to write one comment. You get like conversations in your YouTube comments. It's so active and robust. What do you see among all of those members and subscribers that they themselves, perhaps you wish you could, if you could wave a magic wand to help them see right at the, get-go? What would you want them to really understand and see?
I think the first thing is kind of similar what you said. Like they need to understand that everyone goes through the same struggles. You cannot become a profitable trader without losing money first. I think that's the first thing every trader needs to understand. And I think, from watching the videos on my channel, most people understand that, because that's kind of the fundamental thing I say, is that you should expect to lose money when you first started trading, and but you can decide how much. So that's kind of the fundamental idea. And I think a lot of people receive that quite well, especially after watching my all the videos on my channel. But I think people just really want like my videos because they relate to it, because they like the fact that I don't just talk about the good, I also talk about the bad, and all the emotional struggles as well. So that's what I usually see in the comment section, is people appreciating that I talk about it, and they themselves, after seeing that I shared in the videos, they'll share about their stories in the.
Oh, you just got muted, I think. We can't, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear Shay?
And
Hey,
I
Kai,
really
can you guys hear
appreciate
me?
the.
Oh, you got cut off there, Shay, at least for
Oh,
me. I don't know. Yeah, I think you, so I'm so sorry to make you repeat that, but that little chunk just somehow was
oh.
muted. So um just repeat, you were saying about the comments in the sections, and that they're always happy to see that they're not alone. And then a lot of the rest got cut off. So would you
Oh,
please
okay.
repeat that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the comment section, usually what I'll read is that people appreciate that I'm sharing the stories, and they themselves will in turn share the struggles. And a lot of times that's where they ask for my opinions. And I'm almost like a therapist sometimes on the in my YouTube comment section, just telling people, hey, it's okay, size down. Like I think I
Yeah,
tell them what they already know, but they don't, a lot of times it's hard to execute on certain discipline practices, right? So I tell them what they already
definitely.
know and they should implement.
Yeah. Yeah, but sometimes, like, it, but there's still that uncertainty. And part of what I think too that's so
Hello?
powerful is that,
Sorry, I think
hello?
I got cut off
Yep.
a little bit. I think I missed your question.
Okay. Oh, I just was commenting that I was agreeing with you that sometimes people do know what's best for them, but it's still hard to implement it.
Mhm,
It's still hard to practice it. But I think part of what's so remarkable about you is that you really express empathy and understanding.
mhm,
And I feel like you're tough. You're tough about, like, there are kind of there are rules, and there are high kind of demands that are
mhm,
going to be placed on you. You're very honest about that, but you also sort of teach people, like, and this is going to be hard, and you're
mhm,
going to have to learn how to be empathetic or compassionate to yourself. And
mhm.
I love that you kind of give the tough talk, but you also say, like, and don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah.
You balance that really nicely, Shay.
Mhm. Yeah, I think there's a everyone struggles, right, in trading. Like even this year is a struggle for many traders. I found myself struggling as well. You gotta give yourself a pat on the back sometimes, just to relax and say it's okay if this year is tough. The market, just stay alive for the next day. Almost like you need that, and you need a community to understand and appreciate what you're going through as well.
Yeah. I'm curious if we have any questions. I keep asking Shay questions, and I want to turn it over really to everybody here in our room. If anybody has a question, please raise your hand and let me know so I can let you go directly here to Shay to ask these questions. If you guys like this conversation, please retweet that we're having it here. This two-part episode with Shay will release in a couple of weeks. My editor's a little behind. We got a lot of podcasts in a row, so this will probably be out in about 2 weeks. I had the great, celebration of time a few minutes ago with Shay. We did a Zoom conversation for about 30 minutes, and that plus this Twitter space will be released on a full podcast on the Wall Street Coach podcast, which is my YouTube channel. One of the things I just want to advocate is Shay's YouTube channel. Just over 1 million subscribers, incredibly diverse topics. She's funny, she's entertaining. Her editing skills is, above everybody else on YouTube, and that has no doubt ties back to her days in the VFX industry. I'm just kind of curious, that experience, because it's so labor intensive in VFX, do you feel that prepared you for the hard work the trading asked of you?
Yes, absolutely. I think I look back in my VFX in film industry a couple years with fond memories now, because I think it really prepared me for all the extra hours I had to do, all the blood, tears, and sweat I had to kind of get used to in terms of trading. So I think if my job at the time, my former career, was cozy and I got paid a lot, then there's no way I would have wanted to day trade. Like, I might as well just stay in my job. So I think I appreciate the hardship I learned early on. I think that it's life, right? I think trading, it's trial by fire, and unless you've done something, unless you kind of struggled and overcome that, you won't have the experience of trying to make something so difficult with such a low probability of success rate work. You kind of have to almost be a little bit crazy to want to stick around and in this business to keep on trying to make it work. But then you also know that if you can make it work, you can come to the other side. It's really much worth it.
And we're talking to Shay Huang, also known as Humble Trader. I'm Ann Curtin, the Wall Street Coach. My firm and I do coaching for traders and investors and executives. We're in a conversation about a lot of things, but especially emotional intelligence. Shay is a huge advocate of the importance of emotional intelligence. In fact, you'll see even in her bio that she really understood at I think an early stage. She says no, is about 1.5 years in, which I think is very early, where she got that psychology was so important, and she did her own work on herself to make sure that was as aligned and whole as possible. I'm just curious, like, what those who think, oh no, I don't have to deal with the emotional intelligence, I don't have to deal with perhaps some of my own anger issues or my own pain when I have lost, what would you say to them to potentially enroll them in the importance of it?
I think the stock market and trading in general really magnifies any struggle or any issues you have inside. So I think it's almost impossible to, like, if you are struggling with something difficult in your life or anger issues like I was when I first started trading, and a lot of resentment, I think it's gonna come out in some way or the other, just because the market the market is not designed for you to make money. It's designed to test you and designed to really challenge your discipline. So in a way, it's good and bad because it's the market is not like a 9 to 7 job where you go to work, you make money, and you're done for the day. The market is where you can go to work for 4 hours, 7 hours of a day and still lose money. So I think to really survive long term. I'm not talking about just 2020 and 2021. I think you really need to be in tune with your emotions to stay alive in this game. I think the only people who can truly trade and survive without having to worry about their emotional intelligence are probably if you do algo trading or if you write a lot of code for that. But even that, then you have to adapt quite frequently as well. But that's just another topic for another day. But if for
Yeah,
day trading and the active momentum style of trading that I do and a lot of traders do, especially the
yeah,
ones who attend Traders for a Cause, I think everyone, all the profitable traders have experienced some sort of loss. Everyone has, but it's about having that emotional intelligence to come back and not make the same mistakes again.
yep, yep. Makes so much sense. All right, guys, we'll probably bring this to a close. Shay's given me a lot of time already. Unless there's anybody in this lovely Twitter space who wants to ask Shay a question, raise your hand now or forever hold your peace, as they say. Um, and I can't wait to share this whole conversation with Shay with all of you. Thank you so much for coming to this Twitter space. Shay, thank you for giving us so much time. Thank you for all that you do for the trading community. You're so generous and heartfelt, and you are hilarious. I hope that Saturday Night Live wakes up and Lauren Michaels realizes, wow, this woman is not only a successful trader and community organizer, but she's also very witty. So my hope is that you do get a dream to come true.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for inviting me on this podcast. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This is my first ever Twitter space experience.
It's
This is
so good
great.
to have you here. All right, we do have
Yeah.
a question from Max. So Max, I'm giving you permission now. Be sure to unmute your microphone and let us know what your question for Shay is. Just unmute that mic at the bottom left of your phone. Max, the mic is yours. It could be that you accidentally put in the request, but let's double check. Okay, Max, I think perhaps that was a mistake. I'm going to remove you from the speakers. Does anybody else have any question? Or Max, if you just had a glitch and you wanted to ask, okay, Max is gone. So anybody else have a question before we say aloha to Shay? All right, I think we'll close it there. Shay, thank you so much. I am just so happy to have met you in person at the conference, but even more excited to get to have you here and share so much of your wisdom with these traders who are working really hard and wanting to do their best. So it's you're really being such a contribution to so many. So thank you for that.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening. And thank you, Kim.
You're so welcome. Aloha for now.